The hoaxists that believed that the Beale Papers are nothing more than a work of fiction by J.B. Ward seem to be sure of their conclusion that this is all a work of fiction. This conclusion has been made prematurely. One of the bases of their theories are that the words used in the Beale Papers were never used in the English language until 1885. Recently, I have found documentation that these words were being used in 1816 and 1832. During the time in which the Beale letters were written, making the arguments posed invalid. Not only were the words used in English in 1816 and 1832, but before the 1800s, they were used in the French and Spanish languages in the New Orleans area, under occupation. As research and development moves on, more arguments against the idea that the Beale Papers are a hoax will come forward. There is a large amount of evidence that these events took place. We will be looking at more of these in the future. Many hoaxists have a firm belief that because of some less than truthful items found in the Beale letters, found in the Beale Papers, that the ciphers as a whole must be less than truthful. Their claims are backed by information put forth by the National Security Agency, Cryptology Division and Museum. The CIA and the National Security Agency have all made attempts to decode ciphers 1 and 3, but were unable to finish the task given to them. No agency has been successful in decoding either of the ciphers. Even with the extensive resources and manpower of two of the best intelligence agencies in the world. Of course, due to their failure, they had concluded that the Beale ciphers were a hoax. At one point, a well-known professor attempted to use a supercomputer to decipher the papers, with nothing to show either. Most all of the hoaxists used this as a scapegoat. After all, why accept failure when you can blame the cipher itself for being unsolvable? The Beale Papers are a historical document, and there is proof of their authenticity during the period following their creation. In 1885, there was an article in the local newspaper of Lynchburg, Virginia, that performed a review on the Beale pamphlet in the same year that it was published by J.B. Ward. We find more documentation in 1884, in relation to the establishment of the Beale pamphlet. Correspondence between Ward and the copyright offices, referring to the copyright of the Beale pamphlet, was found. Within these documents, Ward marks himself down as the agent, and not the author. Looking at the Beale Papers in a more critical way, we find 3 different forms of writing, all to create the finished pamphlet, with additions by Ward. We also have the letters from Beale himself, as documentation to its origins. And we have the testimony given by Morris, found in the Beale pamphlet. Ward, the person responsible for creating the pamphlet, only had written a small portion of text at the beginning and at the end of the pamphlet, the rest by others in different styles of writing. In 1863, there were very few men available in the workforce in the time of the Civil War, this being at the same time that all of the facts and information were being brought together, such as Morris's testimony. This leads us to believe that the daughters of Ward were the ones to gather this information. Here, a quote from the Beale Papers about the agent. Quote, "The gentleman whom I have selected as my agent, to publish and circulate these papers, was well known to Mr. Morris. It was at his house that Mrs. Morris died, and he would have been one of the beneficiaries in the event of my success. Like everyone else, he was ignorant of this episode in Mr. Morris's career, until the manuscript was placed in his hands. Trusting that he will be benefited by the arrangement, which, I know, would have met the approval of Mr. Morris, I have left the whole subject to his sole management and charge. It is needless to say that I shall await with much anxiety the development of the mystery." End quote. This short documentary is only a small portion of the research that I have conducted on the Beale Papers and its origins. I can truly understand the hidden story behind this elusive document. I will be looking to do more videos on this channel in the near future. Thank you for watching.